Good morning, everybody. I'm Don Stewart, and welcome to another edition of Breaking News. Today is Sunday, the 10th day of August, 2025. And to say that Israel today is in a state of confusion is really an understatement. Netanyahu's plan to enter Gaza is getting flack from both sides, both his own party and, of course, the left, which we expect that to happen, as well as from the various countries of the world. So here's the latest. Headline number one, the Prime Minister is actually going to hold two press conferences tonight amid domestic and global criticism over the war in Gaza. First with the international press and then with his own people. I imagine he'll do the second one in Hebrew, but that's how bad it's getting. And then from the Jerusalem press, Smotrich, he's the finance minister. He threatens to send Israel to election should the Gaza plan remain unchanged, a source tells the Jerusalem Post. Smotrich's problem is that it doesn't go far enough. In other words, what Netanyahu is saying is it will take over Gaza, get the hostages back, disarm Hamas, but then give the authority back to some other Palestinian group, not Palestinian Authority, not Hamas, to run Gaza. Well, who is it going to be? There's basically nobody else, and that's part of the problem, and that's why total defeat of Hamas must be the final goal. But then on the other hand, this story from the Times of Israel, you've got masses rally against the Gaza City takeover plan. They urge soldiers to refuse, and they're seeking a general strike. This comes from the left, and they say, just give up right now, give Hamas what they want, and let's just end all this. So you got from the right, from the left, and nobody seems to be happy with Netanyahu's plan. So this is where we're at right now. This is the reality. Now, what's going to happen? We will wait and see. All right, let's just look at these stories. Headline number one. The Prime Minister to hold two press conferences tonight amidst domestic and global criticism over the Gaza war. After the press conference for foreign outlets this afternoon, Prime Minister is going to hold another one for local reporters. Israeli media at 8 p.m. That would be 10 o'clock our time here on the West Coast. It's after 6 today. We're a little later than usual today doing this. But two press conferences. Okay, they'll be held at the Premier's Jerusalem office, be broadcast live, following a separate conference for foreign press scheduled to be held this afternoon. Then the important one for the Israeli public is going to be held live at 8 p.m. Israeli time, and that'll be about 3 hours from now. And that'll be the one that'll be really interesting to see what happens. So we'll check out and see. And so later today, we'll be able to be reporting on both of those and see where the chips are falling. And boy, they're not good as far as Netanyahu's concerned. So this leads us to our second headline. Smotrich to send Israel to election should Gaza plan remain unchanged. RZP, that's the Religious Zionist Party, as his party tells the Jerusalem Post. Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich, Religious Zionist Party, will move towards dissolving the government and going to elections if the Gaza occupation plan decided in a security cabinet meeting on Thursday is not changed, a senior figure in the RZP told the Jerusalem Post. When asked about what red lines would need to be crossed to make the move to dissolve the government, the source stated the party does not want to define concrete red lines at the moment, but underscored that Prime Minister Netanyahu understands the significance. The decision of the cabinet was, from this party's perspective, a severe blow to the government and a retreat from the determination to truly achieve a victory and the defeat of Hamas, is what the RZP source says, who spoke on the condition anonymity. Earlier on Sunday, both leader Smotrich and Minister Knesset Zvi Sukkot threatened elections on Sunday in protest against the Security Council's plan. If we return to October 6, 2023 and decide to abandon the war's objectives, it's an existential danger to the state of Israel. If this is the situation, in my opinion, we need to go to elections, Sukkot wrote on his X Twitter account. In the last 20 years, there's been no other solution to the Gaza issue. Either Gaza will conquer us or we will conquer Gaza. The time for conquest has come, he wrote earlier in a post on Thursday. Additionally, Smotrich threatened Prime Minister Netanyahu at Thursday's cabinet meeting with going to elections, telling him, as far as I'm concerned, we can stop everything, let the people decide, according to a Sunday report by public broadcaster Khan, K-A-N, as an Israeli broadcaster. The three RZP ministers, Smotrich, Aliyah, and Integration Minister Ophir Sofer and National Missions Leader Ulrich Strock all decided not to attend Sunday's cabinet meeting in protest against the security cabinet's decision. Meanwhile, RZP MK Michael Woldiger has not yet explicitly called for elections, but announced the plan to occupy Gaza City, agreeing with a post on Friday from hawkish hostage family activist group Tikva Forum. In their post, the Tikva Forum stated they were disappointed with the security cabinet's decision, adding that expanding the operation while simultaneously increasing aid to Gaza is moral and security folly. Oldiger commented that another personage here that she is ashamed of the decision, which says nothing and will allow Hamas to control and manage events. Smotrich, in a lengthy statement on Saturday night, said following the Security Cabinet meeting on Friday, he has lost confidence that Netanyahu seeks to lead the IDF to victory. He called on the prime minister to reconvene the cabinet, announced there would be no more pauses in the war, no more partial deals. So, bottom line, in other words, Netanyahu's latest decision does not have Israel going far enough. It will only lead to future wars. Even if in other words, you don't know how many hostages are going to be saved from this. Many soldiers will die from this problem. You'll have a humanitarian issue in Gaza. But at the end of the day, it'll be the same old, same old. You give Gaza back to some type of authority, Palestinian authority, maybe not maybe not Hamas, but whoever this authority may be, and God only knows who it is, because there is no other leadership out there. But sooner or later, the same thing is going to happen again, and we know that for a fact. Now, what we're going to do later today in our second edition to try to explain how this all happened, we're going to go back to 2005 and explain how this mess got to be where it is with Ariel Sharon, the right-wing minister who decided to give Gaza to the Palestinians, the Palestinian Authority at the time, thinking that would bring peace and security to Israel, and how wrong he was. So anyway, so you've got on the one hand, those from the right saying you're not going far enough, you're not going for total victory. Why do all this when you're just going to give them back Gaza to Palestinians, and the same thing will happen over and over again sooner rather than later? Well, then you got the left here. This last night, masses rally against Gaza City takeover plan, urged soldiers to refuse and seek a general strike. This from the Times of Israel. Tel Aviv's Ayalon highway shut down as protesters lit bonfires in the road. Relatives of hostages bewail eternal warmongers for choosing to sacrifice their loved ones. Tens of thousands of protesters gathered in Tel Aviv and cities across Israel on Saturday evening to call for a hostage deal and ceasefire agreement before Israel launches its planned mission to conquer Gaza City, as the families of the captives called for a general strike in opposition to a plan they warn will mark a death knell for their loved ones. The protests, which were some of the biggest in months, came days after the cabinet decided to seize the densely populated Palestinian city, despite the military's objections that the move would imperil the captives, needlessly endanger troops, and deepen the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. All right, a bright red flag is waving over the government's decision to sacrifice our loved ones, said the Hostages and Missing Families Forum in a press conference before Saturday's rally. The forum urged decision makers reach a comprehensive hostage deal. Stop the war, bring back our loved ones. Their time is up. Now, here's the problem. While this rally gets so much attention in Israel, it must be remembered it's funded by leftist anti-Israel forces. When the crowd screams, reach a comprehensive hostage deal, who are they yelling at? Hamas is not even coming to the bargaining table, and from all indications, it will not. As one commentator put it, why are the masses reflecting Hamas's talking points? So, to summarize these two articles, the Smotrich rebellion is because the plan does not go far enough, while others are tired of any more fighting and want Israel to quit right now. Netanyahu's plan is neither. So add to this, as we know, the nations of the world, you've had story after story we could go into, basically universally condemning Israel for the plan to take Gaza City, as Italy's, I think it's the foreign minister said, is all it's going to do is bring another Vietnam there to Gaza. They shouldn't do it. So universally condemned by the nations, condemned from both the right and the left inside Israel. And that's where we're at right now. So what's going to happen next? Literally, God only knows. So we'll bring you the latest. It'll be meaningful what happens at these press conferences, other stories today. But at the hoopla and all the yelling and screaming is certainly going to die down from either the left or the right. There's no, like we said, there's no easy choice or no easy decision. If there was, it would be made. And it's sad Israel has put themselves, and they put themselves in this situation for the last 20 years of how they've acted towards Gaza. And now they're paying the price. Now, the good news is we know what's eventually going to happen from Scripture, that Israel will survive. They will actually have a time of peace, or relative peace, or supposed peace. But this will be interrupted by the arrival of the final Antichrist, the man of sin. And then, of course, the Ezekiel 38, 39 invasion, and then the Great Tribulation period. and only culminating the second coming of Christ when it looks like Israel will be destroyed. We talk about this in our books, 25 Signs We're Near the End. Um, that's from our website, Educating Our World, a free download from the website under the heading of Bible Prophecy, the final Antichrist, talking about this coming man of sin. We have a huge, huge book about him, the history about what he's going to do, who he is. Again, also they're a free download as all of our material is. So we encourage you, if you don't understand what's going on right now, and it's all confusing, please consult these sources we've done because it lays it all out for you in a very comprehensive style. Bottom line is, we don't know what's going to happen in the short term, but we certainly do in the long term. How we're going to get there, literally, God only knows. So we'll bring to you the latest as it happens. I'm Don Stewart. Thanks for watching. Until next time, as always, may the Lord richly, richly bless.